So again, we had a lot of support with PracticePlan with communicating to the patients, and that was sent by mass letters that went out to the patients, communicating the change that was happening. I think in hindsight now, we probably didn't. I think we assumed that patients knew what going private meant, and actually when we sent the first letter out to tell them we were going private and they had an option to join a plan, I think a lot of people were genuinely a bit confused by that really. So we had to send the second letter out, which kind of really broke down what the options were for patients. They could remain as an NHS patient but not with us. It would have to be with a different practice. They could join the plan with all the various options, or they could remain as a private pay-as-you-go patient. So I think really you have to be very, very clear what the options are for patients, because as a practice, that's what we've always done, tried to break down options for patients very clearly so that they understood what they wanted. So I think actually in our initial communication, that was probably the bit that I would change now. I'd go back and make sure it was clear from the very start. It's the first time I went through it, and hopefully you don't go through it again. But if I'm giving advice to anybody else, I would say that's something. Make sure it is very clear to patients what they get, because actually you're going to have to spend more time dealing with that afterwards, when people are not sure about it. I would say you get a mixed bag of reaction for patients. Obviously, we were a very long-standing NHS practice with a local demographic that was very pro-NHS. The wider community, has lots of private practices around, so I don't think it was necessarily something that I was afraid patients wouldn't adapt to. But certainly with the local demographic, that was a challenge, and probably in the first couple of weeks we had lots of people who weren't happy about it, and my reception team and the nursing team and the dentist were really, really good at dealing with that. If in fact they were just more than excellent at dealing with it, not really good, but they were excellent at dealing with that. And a lot of that is centered at me as the decision maker on it, and so they felt very protective around me, and that was great. So but yeah, patients weren't happy I'd say quite a few patients weren't happy, but actually majority of patients don't. The ones that really like you, really value the service that you're providing, will go along and sign up with you on your plans, and stay with you on a pay-as-you-go basis, and have kind of come and said afterwards, I was surprised you didn't do it before, or we were kind of expecting it, or you've been treating us like a private practice anyway, and we wouldn't go anywhere else. So you do, I think your initial reaction, you do center on the kind of bad feedback that comes back, but actually as the time goes along you realize that it's the good feedback that you center on, and that's what kind of keeps you focused on what you're doing and makes you realize actually it is the right decision. But I think probably I'd be very surprised if anyone who does it doesn't get a little bit of negative reaction from patients. I think it's just to expect it, but to realize it will pass very quickly. I would say we probably retained about 25 to 30% of our patient base, NHS patient base, and that's okay, because we wanted to spend more time with our patients and see less volume of patients, and we could only do that if less patients stayed with us. And you realise that the patients who do stay with you are the ones who really like you and really want to listen to you and really take your advice and trust your advice. And they're quite often, surprisingly, sometimes it may not be the ones that you think were going to stay, but they are. And actually, they'll be vested in what you're doing for them. You're able to provide them with better opportunities and better equipment and techniques and more up to date, and you can keep up with everything. So yeah, having a smaller patient base sign up to you is great, and then it means that the focus is then with collecting new private patients who then only know the way that you're working now, really. So with our younger patients, we've got a couple of options. They can either come on a pay-as-you-go basis, or they can join us as part of our practice plan. Most of adults who've signed up on the practice plan, their children are seen under 6 are seen for free, and then from 6 up to 18, then we've got kind of discounted plans with various discounts off the normal prices as well. So tried to make it as easy as possible whilst not being able to provide the service for completely free. But yeah, we've tried to make it as easy as possible for children. I think patients have valued having more time being spent with them. We're probably booking double the length of time for just a consultation appointment, a regular consultation appointment. We'll probably do things like iTero scans on the patients now in their checkups. Patients are seeing their teeth on the screen for the first time, which they haven't really seen before, and so having that time, they can see that there is a vested interest in trying to help them and care for them and make them understand what's going on with their mouths. And I think that's probably the change that they've seen the most. We're doing our treatments. We're able to offer more complex treatments now, and do more cosmetic work than we were doing before. Not that we weren't doing it, but we can do more of it now. And so I think that's the benefits that patients are seeing, and especially the ones who are on plan now are seeing the hygienist more regularly than they were, so the health of their mouth is better, and I think they've understood that as well. When they were just having a dentist do the clean for them on the NHS, then they're now seeing the hygienist privately. I think they understand now that side of things as well.